My cousin, Jake, got outed about 4 or 5 days before his 18th birthday in the summer. His parents, my aunt and uncle, made arrangements for him to be sent to one of those awful camps that claim they could cure him. A kid in his community was forced to go and came back and was clearly not well, so Jake didn't want to go. Jake ran away from home and jumped from one family house to another. His folks didn't file a missing person report because they didn't want to look bad to their neighbors. They just told them that he went to that camp willingly. He disappeared in the middle of October and turned up in my city a week later. After making sure he was safe to bring home, my wife and I allowed him to stay. He didn't want me to tell the rest of the family for a while, because those people at the camp keep showing up to take him. I made sure to talk to a lawyer, who assured Jake that they cannot take him. 3 days ago, he told his parents he was here. A few hours later, those damn camp people showed up, but they were unable to take him. My family has been blowing up my phone for the last 2 days, angry that I didn't tell someone sooner. Well, Jake didn't feel safe yet, and still doesn't. I wanted to make sure he was ready. Still, even those that want to protect Jake is upset with me for hiding him. I figured I wasn't the for hiding him from my more narrow-minded family. It was those that really wanted to help Jake that made me feel guilty. They were all scared out of their minds and wanted the peace to know he was okay. I felt bad for not telling them. Though I am sure they wouldn't had turned him in, I felt bad because we were working on keeping him safe. Also, we got a lawyer who got the police on the lookout for those camp people in case they try anything. Jake is not going out alone until we are sure he is safe. We are looking on how to get his paperwork, like his birth certificate, here because no way he trusts his parents to just hand them over. My granny-in-law is talking to some people that could help. Me and Diamara, she is 12 years old, have had a rough summer. She's been more defiant than usual. I've been dating her mom Mara for 2 years now. 9 months ago, they moved in with me, Maple. Both Dio and Mara have an on-again / off-again relationship with Dio's dad, Dionysus. He's pretty much never paid child support, comes and goes as he pleases into Dio's life. Typical shitty-ass part-time dad. I've tried to fill the dad role in her life, while still understanding boundaries, taking things slow, etc. This summer Dionysus decides he wants to be a real dad and takes Dio in for a month. Good for him, not my business, and Mara agrees. When Dio came back home because school started, she was a lot different. Really mean to me, very dismissive. A few days ago she got caught shoplifting at the mall. Security took her in, then called Mara, who didn't answer, then called Dionysus, who didn't answer, and finally me. I answered. They told me I had to pick her up or she'll be handed over to juvenile. I didn't say anything to her while I picked her up. I apologized to security, apologized to the store. I even tipped the security guards plus the store employees because it's up, they had to deal with that. I assured them Dio would be punished appropriately. I'm speaking to her in a strong, affirmative voice while we're in the car. Not yelling, but in a fatherly tone, I suppose. I'm telling her how up it is to steal, and how I don't. With thieves, and how I absolutely don't voluntarily. With any kind of police, so I don't appreciate any of this, nor will I accept it in my house. She snaps back that I'm not her dad, so don't ever tell her what to do. From now on, if I want to tell her something, I need to clear it with her real father first. That killed my soul. For the past year or so, I've treated her as my own daughter. I've paid for their housing, I've paid for her mom's car, her schooling, her food, everything. Her bio dad dropped $100 check off one time in the past year. In check bounced, so I had to call him up and he brought cash over. I told Mara about all of this. She was appalled at what Dio said, but she never made Dio apologize because she's not wrong, you're not her dad. A couple of days later Dio asks me for some money to pay for her uniform / accessories she needs for a sport she's involved in. I say go ask your dad. She scoffs and says her dad doesn't have the money for it, so I have to pay for it. I tell her, I'm not her dad, so don't ever tell me what I have to pay for. She cried to Mara, who tells me I'm not being an adult about the situation. Mind you, I never received an apology or a thanks for our entire previous situation. Mara says Dio is a kid and I need to stop acting like a kid too. I am part-timing in an IT company that is very close-knit. My boss Steven and his wife were always sweet. It was my first month and it was my boss's birthday week. So he and wife Melissa were kind enough to include me in this fancy dinner they were taking everyone to. A week prior to the dinner, Melissa added everyone to a group chat and asked whether we had any suggestions on where to eat. I told her that I am fine with anything as long there are vegetarian options available or at least chicken. They brought their daughter Steph to the dinner and she is a sweet little girl. Now Steph was really interested in me and she kept on asking me questions about how I look the way I look. Now I am short, 5 feet, but can be somewhat deemed as fit to today's generation. I was transparent with her and told her that I don't restrict myself to certain foods but rather eat everything in moderation. Plus I have a plant-based diet and home-cooked meals, so that helps, and I also lift weights. Now Melissa overheard our conversation partially. She pulled me aside and told me that Steph was recovering from eating disorder, so she encouraged me to be honest with her and not lie to her and not to order anything that screams diet. When I saw the menu, there were little to no vegetarian options available. It didn't have anything for me. I was very disappointed and made a comment that, oh wow, there are no vegetarian options. Melissa chimed in and said that eating meat once in a while won't affect my weight. Now, when I say plant-based diet, it's not that I don't eat meat, but I only eat chicken maybe once a week as a side dish, and certain types of fish occasionally, but other than that I mostly eat vegetarian dishes. My food habits are not for my weight, but for my religion / culture. It has nothing to do with my weight. When the waiter came in, I was still glued to my menu when all the others had already ordered. Melissa said that oh, she will have the duck too, and I interrupted and said that no, I will have the garden salad. I hate salads, but there were no other veg options. Melissa got quiet. After a few minutes she told me that I shouldn't have lied and lead on her daughter if I was going to order a skinny salad and starve myself. She said that I am just like those IG influencers who lie to impressionable young girls about their food habits and bodies, and I just proved that by ordering a salad after giving her daughter a "don't restrict yourself" speech, and I probably triggered her eating disorder. I tried to explain that I only ordered a salad because there was no other option in the menu for me, but then she said that I should have just sucked up and eaten the duck as it isn't going to affect my weight, but then again, I corrected that it is a religious thing and not a diet thing. She said that if I eat chicken then obviously I would eat other animals too, and I was just putting up an act. It was horrible. She completely tore me down and I immediately left. I have 3 fingers missing on my dominant hand. It's fine. I can type and everything and even manage to tie my shoelaces most days, and on the days I can't, that's the dyspraxia. However, I won't deny that it looks a bit odd to most people. I only have my 4th and 5th fingers, so my hand looks a bit like a child's drawing of a rabbit, and not a good one. I'm used to people asking about it, usually after staring for a good minute or two, but I still find it annoying. I really don't get why you'd think it would be an okay thing to ask someone about, but hey, I wasn't raised in a barn. Usually I nip the questioning in the bud by just explaining the truth from the get-go, and assuming that enough people will gossip about it that the message will spread by the end of the day. It always does. Anyway, I started a new job about a month ago, and I honestly could not face going through that same cycle again. I felt like the time had come to not play into it anymore and to make something out of it, and I decided to make myself laugh. When the first new coworker asked about it, I completely lied and told her that I chewed them off as a baby. I then decided to tell the next person who asked that I cut them off with a plastic knife at a picnic. And the next person that I was born with 6 fingers and they removed too many, and so on. All genuinely ridiculous reasons, but I'm a good actor and they actually believed my stupid lies. I didn't expect them to, a plastic knife, through bone, but there you go. Maybe they just thought there's no way I'd lie about how I lost my fingers. Within about 3 days, I learned that my coworkers had been arguing about the actual reason, and it seems like a lot of them now actively dislike me for lying to them. I'm probably going to have to make some cupcakes over the weekend with my super cool 3D printed adaptive whisk to get back into their good books. Anyway, I told this story to my brother today, and he told me that I was an asshole because I caused tension within the office on my first day and made people feel stupid for being gullible and believing my lies. My argument is that I'm not the asshole because they were asking a rude, albeit common, question, and because I didn't do it with the intention of deceiving them. I was just honestly fed up of the question and didn't think they'd think I actually severed 3 fingers with dental floss when I was 3. I'll accept my judgment, though. Not cool to ask people why they lost limbs or digits just because you want to sate your morbid curiosity. A few reminders for people: I'm not a male. Don't know why everyone assumed that. Don't ask people about something that could be traumatic, especially when you don't actually know them.